everybody, to We Geek Podcast. Today is June 25th, episode 170. My name is Adam, joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What's up, man? And before we get into it, before we start talking about our week and everything, I just wanted to say, man, my thoughts go out to Etika and all of his, fans and his family and everything. If you're not aware, he was a YouTuber. He was kind of known for his Nintendo reviews, and unfortunately, it's assumed that he committed suicide. His body was found. What river was it? It's in New York.
The East River, I think it was.
The East River, yeah, and they found his belongings on the bridge. So, as we've said before, I want to give the number real fast for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. It's 1-800-273-8255. You're not alone. Even if you think you are, give that number a call. That's never the answer, and it's sad. I don't know. I'm not. I can't pretend that. I'm not a medical, or I'm not an expert or anything on this. But you got to talk to somebody. Mental health is a huge issue in our country, and this is just sad to see.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of fans. This was on everything, and I've been watching the news because he's unfortunately in the last few months or however long it's been, he's been in the news a few different times, so the signs have been there, and I hope that if you're out there and if you feel the same way, if you have those feelings, call that number, talk to somebody, reach out to me on Twitter. I'll talk to you. Don't do that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. But I wanted to get that out there.
Yeah.
We'll continue on with the show, man. How was your week been, dude?
Work, and more work.
Yeah, work, Sonora, work. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Oh my god. So I'll tell you a really quick story. I went out at the end of a shift one night at the theater to grab those of us that closed. Like I ran to McDonald's to get some food for some of us, and we had been singing that off and on that night for no reason whatsoever. We had just been doing, like, if we could find a song from Beetlejuice, we were singing it. So I had kept like my little radio thing with me, my little walkie-talkie, and left to get food, and I still had it on me. And when I came back, like as I was pulling into the parking lot, I pulled up. I can't remember the actual name of the song, but the Deo song. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of it. I pulled that up on Spotify and on my phone, and through Bluetooth, put it through my car, and just keyed the mic on my radio and played that like as I was pulling into the parking lot. And left that on for a good like 30 seconds, and then I let go, and there's a voice in my ear after that just goes, "Logan?"
That's great.
But I asked one of them about it like a couple months later, because I don't know, we started singing it again for some reason. I was like, "What was that like?" They were like, all of a sudden, like that song just came on the radio, and we were like, "What the hell is going on here?"
Under attack. Yeah. No, that's funny.
But
yeah. I googled. It's the Banana Boat song. Apparently.
That's right.
Dale, the Banana Boat song. Yeah, it's so good. Everyone knows it.
Yeah.
But that's good, man. That's good. Oh man, the past week or two's been crazy. Playing a lot of Rocket League. Been on my Switch a lot.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it's cool. I've been playing the PC, playing the Switch. And like I wanted to test it out, so my buddy Sean played on the PC, and I played the Rocket League on the Switch. We were able to cross-play. Super simple.
Nice.
There was no lag. There was nothing. I'm terrible at the game, so I was jumping everywhere and doing all sorts of crazy stuff, but it wasn't because of the connection or anything like that. And
Very cool.
It was amazing how well that was. But yeah, man, I'm jumping back in tonight to Divinity Original Sin 2.
Okay.
Because have we talked about that before?
Yeah.
And it's been like a year since I booted that up, but I'm going to be starting into that because I don't know if I talked about this last week, but I've been looking at all this D&D stuff, and so I've been getting super into that. So I was like, you know what, that's a game I need to jump back into. But yeah, man, it's been a crazy week.
Oh yeah, did you have your D&D game this week? How did that go?
Nope, I haven't
Ah,
had it yet.
not
Yeah,
yet.
yeah. So I'll definitely let you guys know once it happens. But man, I went and got the book, got everything. Um, yeah. So I'll definitely talk about that probably next week. Um, but yeah, man. So, whew, but yeah, man, that's really been it. Of course, just work, like always. Hanging out with the family, hanging out with some friends. Trying to, I don't know, the last few weeks have been super stressful, so I've been just trying to get my head other places. Did you see they dropped the Harry Potter game on
Yeah,
mobile?
I really didn't have any interest in it. Uh,
No?
not really, because I'm
I know
not
you
out and
like the
about
Harry
much.
Potter.
I do, but it's, I'm not out and about a whole lot.
Uh,
There's not a ton to do in town, so there's no, like, you walk around downtown and it's, you go around like 2 blocks and that's it. Like
uh,
there's not it was the same kind of thing with Pokemon Go, where it was like, this is
mhm.
amazing and I love it, but there's just like there's nothing here.
Oh, that stinks. Yeah, no, I haven't
Yeah.
booted it up. I'm honestly waiting for a new phone. My phone can handle Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, the social media stuff, and I think Audible. That's about it. So I haven't even been able to play Pokemon Go. The state of my phone is in, but I'm gonna be getting a new one soon, and I'll be able to. I want to jump into that, see what it's like. It looks a little bit different. It looks like it's got. I think you go to what's the Diagon Alley?
Yeah.
Yeah, to purchase things. That's their store. It's ridiculous. But I like the way like you don't just like flick the ball to catch a Pokemon. You gotta do like a different, I don't know, designs on the screen or whatever. So I don't know. I want to test it out. But yeah. But yeah, man. So well, let's get into the news. Wait, so did you see any movies this week?
I did. I saw everything this week.
Oh, jeez.
By which I mean I saw Child's Play, which was better than I expected.
Really?
It's the same kind of thing of like, this is not a tremendous horror movie, much like the
Okay.
original one wasn't. But
Yeah.
but much like the original, it will find life after the theater. Like the
Mhm.
original Child's Play, I'm pretty sure did not have a spectacular theater run, but it lived on in VHS and home video and all that stuff. Same thing's gonna happen here.
Yeah.
It had, I mean, to do 14 million this week was no small feat at all.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's, this was a movie that I guarantee you was made very inexpensively, but it will absolutely do much better digitally and home video and all that fun stuff. As well it should, because it's a surprisingly good
Mhm.
movie. Like, it's not great, but it's,
Right.
for what you'd think is just a cash in on a franchise, and especially one that they announced this like in March. They were like, by the way, Child's Play reboot. Okay, when's it
Right.
coming? June. Wait, hang on. What now? And
Right.
it's better than you would expect,
Mm.
which is, and it's decent. Like, it's a solid C plus movie. It's not great, but it's not terrible either.
Mhm.
um but I enjoyed it, and I mean, Toy Story 4 is magnificent. Like, it's just so damn good. It really
Yeah.
is.
I got to see that.
Yeah. It's amazing. Stay until the absolute end, because at the very last second of everything, they pay off a joke from the movie that you didn't even know you needed paid off.
Oh.
It's just it's not an after credit scene. It's just at the very last thing that happens before the entire movie is over.
Okay.
They pay something off. It's great. And this this was one we were we were in there. Uh, I was in there with some of the crew, and when that happened, because we stay for the whole thing anyway, make sure everything works right. At the very end, when this little thing went down, we lost our minds. Like, we cheered like somebody won a Super Bowl, and it's not that big a deal. But God, it was so funny. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I gotta see it. People they're loving it. They're saying, how are they continuously making good Toy Story movies?
Because they keep finding a different angle to tackle it
Right.
from. I mean, the first one was basically just what if toys were alive?
Mm-hmm.
Simple enough. The second one was basically like what's Woody's backstory.
Right.
The
And that
third,
was probably the weakest, I think, of the original three,
I
but it was still good.
it was yeah no I agree
Right.
it was still
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it was still head, head and shoulders above most, animated movies, especially at the time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And I mean the third one was about growing up, and the fourth one is about finding your purpose.
Yeah.
And it's really fascinating to see how they come back to it and
Mhm.
and change tack. I doubt there will be a fifth.
Yeah.
I highly doubt there will be a fifth.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think anyone expected a fourth.
No, I certainly didn't. But
Yeah.
there are elements in play where I think a fifth is improbable.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Hey, you got 4 perfect movies. Just leave it at that. You know.
You could say the same thing about 3, but then they came along with this one. And I mean, look, if you can find the story and the way to tell it, go for it. They
Mhm.
did here. I thought 3 was
Right.
a great ending. Like, let that be that.
Surprised there hasn't been spin-offs. Like they have trains and planes and stuff.
I think it's really just because the movies have more or less just stuck to a very core group. And I
Right.
know Cars did that too, but Cars introduced this entire world of what if everything was, everything was not, there weren't people, the
Right.
automobile, the vehicles, whatever they were alive. So that opens up opportunities. And I know Toy Story, what if toys were alive opens up, bajillions of opportunities because of how many toys there are. But
Right.
I feel like there's not, I don't know. I think it's easier to do a thing where you have cars and then you have planes, which are fundamentally different.
Mhm.
Because one can fly, obviously. So there is a completely different element and attitude and whatnot there. I think toys are toys, especially
Yeah.
because the group in Toy Story is itself a mixture.
I don't want you to answer this, but I
Okay.
just thought like they could probably have like Marvel or Star Wars toys in there if they wanted to, like they did with Wreck-It Ralph.
They could if that was a route they wanted to go. Well,
I
yeah,
mean, Star Wars was like that's what got them all those sequels and everything else. Just
right.
saying, like I don't know, that just popped up in my head. That would be funny, as
I
like
wonder,
up on a wall or something.
but I wonder though if maybe you run into a toy licensing issue, and it's why none of these have been. I mean, Barbie and Ken are the only ones. I mean, Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head.
But
yeah.
I mean, they're practically public domain toys.
Right, right. Like
No disrespect, but I mean, like Etch-a-Sketches have been around since forever.
Right.
And that's why I think everything big has been either something they created or something public domain. So I don't know. I think maybe they might run into some kind of issue with that because of the toy licenses and whatnot.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But
That makes sense.
definitely check it out. It's absolutely a good watch.
Oh yeah, I will. All right. Well, let's see. So I imagine that topped the box office.
Yeah, just shy of 121 million, which was a damn good opening weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not fun, but it was exactly what was expected. I mean, people came out in droves, and why wouldn't they?
Right.
It was a little softer than I think they were anticipating. I think they were really banking on like 140, 150. Which I thought was a little high. Like, I'm expecting Spider-Man to do those kind of numbers, but I think...
When does that come out?
The Spider-Man, it comes out a week from today.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it comes out before the 4th. It comes out next Tuesday.
Yeah, it's kind of one of the last ones of the summer, right? Or no?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Arguably the last big summer movie is Hobbs and Shaw. It's in August.
Oh yeah, that's gonna kill it.
That's the last of the blockbuster summer movies, because the next, and I know It Chapter 2 comes out at the beginning of September, and it's going to do huge numbers too, but it's not a summer blockbuster. It's a horror movie.
Nah,
You know,
that's going
it's
back to school and everything else. Yeah.
exactly, and that's the idea. It's like this is
Yeah.
the beginning of fall and the season of scares and all that kind of stuff. Although this hasn't been, I mean, you think about it. This week was shoot, Child's Play. Last week, I mean, we've had Pet Cemetery and Child's Play, and there was something last week that I can't remember, which is terrible.
Man, I want to see that Midsummer. What is that? What it's called?
Midsummer, which is basically like the
Yeah.
next like Hereditary / Mother / whatever kind of movie. That's just not for me.
Man, everyone is raving about it.
I'm sure they are, because it's like this
Yeah.
is a horror movie that's really messed up and freaky and all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, yeah,
It looks good.
I'm not really in for that. Like, I
Yeah.
love a good like psychological horror movie. Don't get me wrong, but these things tend to get just like extra weird.
When it gets just, I don't know, when it's disturbing. Like, there's a part in the trailer where the girl's face is like, I can't even tell what happened
Yeah.
to it. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm not real crazy on that. I know Hereditary did like some really, really just like messed up stuff. I'm like, nah,
Right.
I'm not
We watched
crazy
about
about
half
that.
of that, and then
Yeah.
we were forgot what happened, but we were like, all right, let's watch something else.
Yeah, Midsummer is in that same vein because it's the same director. Can't remember the name, but
That
you
makes
know.
sense.
And hey, look, if that's for people, if that's your thing, go for it. Like, I'm happy for you. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've had that. We've had Child's Play. We've had Pet Cemetery. We have Annabelle this week. We had, I can't remember what we had last week or the week before, but that's kind of my point of like we've consistently had horror movies like just in the first half of the year, and they haven't been awful, which is another
right.
plus. Nothing's been amazing, but
Right.
I mean, we had, what did we have last year? A Quiet Place. We had A Quiet Place last April, I think, like a year ago. And nothing's been that kind of blow everything out of the water, holy crap kind of horror film, but it's been a decent year so far.
Yeah. Well,
But, and I mean, we've got Scary Stories in August. There's It in September. And I'm sure there's got to be like an actual horror movie in October. The only one I can think of offhand is The Addams Family, but that's not really a quote unquote horror movie.
yeah, it's like a comedy. It's like Beetlejuice.
It depends on how you want your censorship, because Wednesday's pigtails are in are braided like nooses.
Wait, what happened? Wait, so what?
Yeah, Wednesday Addams, her hair, like as she used to have pigtails. They have they're braided into nooses at the ends.
At the end of what?
At the ends of her hair.
Wait, so are you talking about like a trailer or something?
I'm talking about the character in the upcoming Addams Family movie.
Oh, there's an upcoming Addams Day movie. That's what I'm trying to figure out what you mean. Okay,
yeah,
so
it's coming out Halloween.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're talking about.
You see it now?
I'm like, wait a second. Yeah. Okay.
That's been censored in a lot of promotional material to have her hair behind her back, because that imagery's been too disturbing for some people.
Oh my gosh.
And that just kind of like on the one hand, sure. On the other hand, get over yourself. Like, it's a messed up family. Like, if you know nothing about the Addams Family, then just don't. Like, I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. It's you go into that expecting it. It's like, for example, I saw what is it, Kotaku or IO9 just post that Be Prepared is going to be in the Lion King movie.
Okay.
As if that was controversial.
I guess because it wasn't they talked about actually it wasn't going to be at first.
Yeah, no, it's in the movie.
Okay.
I guess because they had the hyenas goose stepping in the first one.
Yeah, but I mean, that was,
it's the Lion King. He's the bad guy.
And that was the humor in it, was just the idea of like, look how ridiculous this is. He wanted he wanted his rule,
exactly.
And they wanted a twisted.
It's like it's like if they edited the First Order in Star Wars. And they're like, you know what? We can't have him up there screaming like Hitler in front of goose-stepping soldiers, because that's literally what they do in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like that kind of stuff, let the artist be the artist, and if it bothers you, don't go see it.
Then don't go. Exactly.
Yeah, and so as long as as long as they show that stuff, I think in the trailer or whatnot, then you should know what you're going into.
Yeah, which they do. Like
Yeah.
the tree is like she's swinging the tree and the tree lets her down, and you clearly see her hair, and it's braided. Each end is a noose, and it's like, oh yeah, because they're a weird macabre family. Where earlier on, Pugsley blows up the bathroom, and Uncle Fester in the tub crashes through the ceiling. Like that's
right. Yeah.
It's macabre to the point of silliness.
Mm-hmm.
But just
yeah.
God, show these people the Addams Family values; they'll lose their minds.
Right, exactly.
She does her little bit at camp. My God, these
there
would be protests in the streets.
Yep, that's man. And then when I heard about that, the Scar thing, like that's like one of the best songs. That's top 3 in the movie. You gotta keep that. But yeah, man. Where were we?
Well, sticking with Disney, Aladdin, talking about, live action Disney stuff, Aladdin still plugging along, another 13 million. It's going to wind up cracking 300 here in the next couple weeks. Just domestic.
Oh, yeah. Did Avengers ever come back out?
It comes back out Friday.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's when they re-release it with that, like, extra 7-8 minutes of stuff.
It's probably just going to be that guy from Ant-Man. Like, going over everything.
Dude, you have no idea how much I would love a vignette to go into, like, the Infinity Saga box set with
they talked about that. They have that recorded.
I want that. I want Michael Pena to do it in chronological order. Don't do it in movie order. Do it starting with, back in the day, there was this scientist, and he was in Germany, and so he made this formula, and just go all the way through the end of Endgame. I would kill for that. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't pull up the
it's
a thing, but I'm pretty sure someone said like that's been recorded.
I imagine it has. If for nothing else than as a joke, but that's a bonus feature I want so bad.
Yeah,
but this is
my money is that's what's at the end of it.
No, they've already talked about like it's a.
Oh, they have.
It's a deleted scene of like they haven't gone into details, but they've said like one thing's like a deleted scene and one thing's like an extended bit of Far From Home setup, and then there's like a Stan Lee tribute.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, that's pretty cool. And it's all post-credits, so it's not like they didn't re-edit the movie or anything.
Right.
But I thought about this, and I'm like, I love the way that they've done like the releases and marketing for this. First 2 weeks of Endgame, no post-credits, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
After that, trailer for Far From Home.
Yeah.
Let that play for a little while, and then the weekend before Far From Home comes out, one last like revitalized push of like, hey, come check this out. Seriously,
Yeah.
Like I like it's smart. They didn't do it like 2 weeks ago to try to really milk it. They were like, no, we got this. Like it's gonna be out for this weekend.
Yeah.
And then it's just this last big push, and it's got like 30 something million to go to top Avatar.
Oh, it's got it in the bag. It's gonna be Avatar.
I don't know, man. It's so close. And I don't know how much of a jump it's gonna make up this weekend. Like I don't see it making more than
30 million.
And I know that's worldwide.
If they keep it in there for a few weeks, it'll totally beat it.
It made $1 million this weekend. It didn't. At that rate, it's not gonna do it. If it makes 5 this weekend because of this last big push, just domestically. It's got to make that other 25 worldwide.
Well, the extra scene is what's going to push everyone to go see it.
Exactly, and that's the point. But I wonder if that's enough to get that many more people across the world to come see it one more time. It might. It very well might. This is the only way that it would work.
Yeah.
They couldn't have just left it in there and hoped that hey, if we do another marketing push real quick before Spider-Man, like that wouldn't work. But promising a little extra stuff at the end, and then get rehyped for Spider-Man, it might. It very well might, but it's it's gonna be so close. Yeah. It's gonna be so damn close.
Yeah, I saw who was it on Twitter? Oh, it was like Don Cheadle replied to a guy, and some people are crazy. This guy posted on Twitter, round/view 130. This is the fight of our lives. Avengers Endgame.
God.
Who's supporting it? And he like tagged a bunch of people and basically saying he's seen the movie 130 times.
Yeesh.
And then John Cheadle's like, thanks, but isn't there another movie you'd like to go see now? Like, what?
I mean, fair
Is that even
play.
possible? 130 times?
Sure it is. That's 930 hours. That's 10, 20, 30. It's not even a month's worth of days. You could absolutely do it.
Man, that's like what? If it's $10 a ticket, $1,300?
At least, yeah. But I mean, here's the thing, though.
The fight of our lives.
Look, if you were wild enough to get the $100 and something ticket to see the entire marathon, I mean, do your thing, man.
I just thought that was nuts. Like, I've seen a movie in a theater 2 times, maybe 3, Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and those are long ass movies.
I did Ready Player One 3.
Yeah, that's about as much as I can. I'm like, all right, I'm good, because I would get so burnt out.
All right,
and then that kind of happens with like Lord of the Rings or Star Wars.
Yeah.
I haven't gone through Star Wars in a while. It's coming up soon. Lord of the Rings, on the other hand, I got those babies booted up and ready to go.
There you go. Well, and I mean, here's the thing. You figure most theaters have Endgame. Some of the bigger theaters, anyway, depending. I don't know where this guy lives, but are gonna have Endgame anywhere from 3 to 4 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
So in 35 days, if that was all you did, it would take you 35 days. And I, it came out end of April, so I mean, it's absolutely feasible that's been done.
Hey, it's the fight of our lives.
It's expensive as balls, but I mean, it's possible, yeah.
$1,300. That's like a cheap car, you know what I mean? Like, you could, that's insane. Oh, man, that's rent for a while for some people. Or some people just, 1 month. The rate, everything's going up, but you know what I mean? That's insane.
Oh, more power to him, I guess.
Yeah, no more power. Exactly. I'm not trying to kink shame. I was just like, God damn. But yeah. So, I don't know. I think it can do it. Disney's crazy enough to be like, let's re-release it with this scene. And they'll probably re-release it again in a few years. And then they'll release Avatar just so they can... It's like when Vince McMahon bought WCW versus WWE.
Oh my God.
Who are they really competing against at this point? Oh man, wrestling. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah. So that's cool. So we got some Toy Story, some Child's Play, Aladdin. What you said was 13 million, right?
Yep.
Men in Black, Secret Life of Pets 2.
Men in Black is not going to have... Men in Black is a mild disaster. And I say mild just because, we also had Dark Phoenix, which is going to be a colossal disaster.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
But that's unfortunate. This week, I don't see... I see a new, number 2 and maybe 3 or 4 movie this week with Annabelle and Yesterday. Annabelle Comes Home is basically The Conjuring 3. It's everybody from the Conjuring films but it's set around the doll, so it's basically The Conjuring 3. And Yesterday, of the two, Yesterday's the one I really want to see more, just because I think the premise is interesting.
But yeah, man, all right, that's cool. I want to go see. I want to go see that. I still haven't seen the second Annabelle.
Yeah, the creation was better than the first one was, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for Yesterday. Yesterday looks fun. This is a big year for people in England and other people's music, with Yesterday being the guy who's he wakes up and he's the only one who remembers Beatles songs, and then right. In August we have Blinded by the Light, which is the kid who grows up listening to Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, they played that before Pokemon.
Yeah,
I thought that was an odd choice.
It's a kid growing up.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. The kids that I was sitting with, that I brought with me,
Yeah.
I don't think they would be interested at all in that. I mean, they were talking about sex and everything else, and I was just like, okay. I thought we were gonna see like cartoon movie, trailers before this. Not, a guy trying to, I don't know, hook up. Like it was very different.
Hey, the distributors send out the trailer lists, and they're like, put these trailers before this movie. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like everything else before. It was like cartoon, kids movie, and then it was this, and I was like, these poor kids sitting next to me have, that I brought have no idea who Bruce Springsteen is. Like,
no,
nothing.
Not a clue.
But
which I mean, when they're tiny is completely fine.
Right. But I don't know. I thought it was funny. But yeah, no. Yesterday, it's an interesting premise.
Yeah, I like it's just because it's so strange. Like you're like, this is a weird idea, but okay, let's see where it goes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they could do that with a lot of things. They'd be like the guy who wakes up and no one knows what Star Wars is. That would be crazy.
Yeah, but then it's easier to write, especially in this day and age. It's easier to write and record a song and get it out there than it would be to like make a movie like Star Wars and get it out there.
But imagine Jack Black starring.
Oh Jesus!
And a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, that movie writes itself. And him trying to explain to everybody how cool this is, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Ewoks, get out of here!" I don't know. I just think that'd be funny.
But then, could you imagine the unfortunateness of all of the retconning he would have to contend with?
Right, he would be running into all the problems that George did. It writes itself.
I really want the scene. I want that movie just for one scene where he sits down to do the Phantom Menace, and he discovers he can't get rid of Jar Jar.
Yeah, him and Simon Pegg, they just can't figure it out.
And at the end, they're like, "We can't. He has to stay.
Yeah,
he has to stay."
They're going to a crucial part to the saga.
They're going to hate us, but he has to stay.
Yeah, man, it writes itself. Someone better be writing that right now. I was just trying to think of like what other iconic things in other, forms of entertainment, and that would be kind of right up there on top.
Shakespeare, somebody who Shakespeare never existed.
Right.
That would be one that would be interesting. Depending on who you ask, that's actually true, but I don't really want to get into that because that's insanity.
Yeah, it is insane. Oh man.
But I mean, you could do that with paintings. What happened if there had been no Da Vinci? Then Dan Brown wouldn't have had a career. But just all that kind of stuff would have been. They're interesting ideas, but I think that once you've done one, like the rest of them all feel like they're just gonna copy that.
Right. No, I'm just saying like it's an interesting premise. Like, like I think the Freaky Friday idea is interesting, and that's obviously other people have taken that and ran with it. So I was just thinking the same thing. But yeah, cool. So we got some movie news.
Yeah, a little bit this week. Pixar announced their next. I don't know if it's their next movie because I don't remember when Onward comes out. But they announced Soul coming June 19th, 2020.
What's that about?
They didn't really say.
All right.
Pixar. Cool. I'm telling you what. Pixar is a busy damn studio. Between this and Onward, and they've got something else coming out. Like they've got 3 movies in the works right now. So it's no wonder that there's no short before Toy Story 4.
Yeah, that's true.
And that surprised me because I kept thinking, I was like, what happened? Like, where was the short? And they were like, yeah, we didn't have the resources. And that was a bummer. That really bummed me out because I remember Bao before The Incredibles. And I was just like, because that was so good and that took such a hard left turn. Mm-hmm. That went crazy. That was great. When she ate the dumpling, everybody in my theater was like, what the fuck was that? What just happened?
Right.
This is a Pixar short.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember watching that. I was like, what's going on?
It was just like, hang on.
Did we hide the kid's eyes? They just ate it.
It's like, well, that was terrifying. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there was none before Toy Story. Now, I get it when you're working on all this other stuff, but I feel like that's a little bit the death of creativity there in a way. because things like that and Piper and all this. I mean, Pixar was born from shorts. You can't lose that heritage. You know, you can't lose that tradition, and I feel like there's going to be one attached to the Blu-ray release for this. I do. I feel like they're gonna have one to put on at the end, and I don't mean like a spin-off kind of thing, like they did with Toy Story in Time or Toy Story of Terror or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there'll be like an actual like short that goes with it, but but you know, I mean, they're working on they've got 3 projects. They've got Soul and Onward, and I think they've got something else. I don't know.
They got a short film program that they're debuting on Disney Plus called Short Circuit.
Okay, I wonder if maybe that's where they're focusing on that then.
Yeah, it's like an experimental short film program.
I would love that. Like, that'd be great.
Yeah, because artists and filmmakers can share their films for the first time anywhere and get behind the scenes insights. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
I really like that idea. I think it's great.
Yeah. It's called Short Circuit's Experimental Films. So
nice.
Yeah, that'll be on their Disney Plus. So that's really cool.
That's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They also announced The Kingsman, which is going to be the prequel to the Kingsman movies.
Okay.
It's going to come out next February, and Matthew Vaughn is back directing again.
Okay.
And it's going to be about the founding of the Kingsman service.
So is this officially going to be under Disney, or is it going to be like a Fox studio under Disney?
I'm sure it will be a Fox studio under Disney.
That's what I'm curious about. Are they going to open up with the castle? No, I'm just kidding. It won't be the castle. But is it going to say Walt Disney Pictures, and then suddenly you're going to get I think nudity thrown at your face? How are they going to do that?
No, I think that this is how we're going to start seeing the brands separated.
Yeah,
like that stuff is going to be under.
We're going to brand split.
Yes, and
this will be SmackDown
with the wild card rule in effect.
Right,
just exactly. Shoot me. It's gonna be, that's why they kept a lot of the 20th Century Fox infrastructure. So
I hope Big E's in the movie. Now that I'm thinking about it,
God, yeah.
He'd be a great addition.
He would.
I would love Big E in a movie. He needs to be in film, like his facial expressions.
Just for that alone, absolutely.
Are just on point. My buddy sent a gift today through one of our group chats, and he asked me, he's like, "Who's this guy?" I was like, "It's Big E." He's like, "He's my favorite. I don't watch wrestling, but anytime I see his gifts, they're hilarious." He was the one with him eating the popcorn.
Yep, that one good. That one's everywhere.
That one's everywhere. Yeah, and then the one with him just looking at Daniel Bryan eating like a chicken wing or something like that.
I think it's a turkey leg.
It's a turkey leg. Yeah. He's just looking at him. It's just great. So good. Oh yeah. Man, he's got mass appeal. But anyway, back to Kingsman.
That's true. But there's, but I think that, like these kind of films, like the R-rated films and stuff, like that's going to be, the Fox imprint, basically. Right. I mean, Disney has, it's just going to be another studio.
You know what I would love?
What?
And this is just me, and this is just nitpicky, and I know I'm probably alone with this. I loved before the Star Wars movies, you got that Fox opening with the drums and everything. Dun, 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 dun. I can't. I'm not gonna pretend to do it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
With all the music with the Fox logo opening up and the orchestra or whatever it was, and then it played out and it showed the Lucasfilm. I would love it to go back to that. I know they won't.
No, but you're not. I don't think you're alone, because I too think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the nostalgia factor when you hear that, because that's what you first hear when you get that opening.
Yeah.
And then it shows the Lucasfilm and blah blah blah, and then suddenly it does the boom Star Wars, and man, I wish it still did that. But now they own the rights to it. They technically, I think, could do it, but I don't think they will.
They won't. They could, but they won't. It would be a nice touch to bring it full circle like that.
Even if they did just like one last time for this last movie.
I think it would be a nice closing of the circle to be like, we get it, Disney distributes this, and it'll say, Walt Disney Pictures at the end or whatever. But it would be fun to put that up there. That's true.
Yeah, that'd be good. But
I'm just waiting for next Christmas when they do the 1 through 9 box set with including the unaltered original trilogy, since they do own the distribution rights to them now.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But,
yep. That's gonna be a nice box set. It's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, it's gonna be $200.
It's gotta be right. Probably like a 4K edition where you get the Blu-ray, the 4K, the digital, the Kindle version. You get it all up and you get it all. Um, but yeah, you get the PSP version with it.
God damn.
Did you ever buy PSP movies?
No.
No, you never bought one?
Nope.
I forgot which one I had. I had a couple. Man, what a time.
It's probably one of the Planet of the Apes movies.
No, what was it? Oh, this is gonna bother me. I'll think about it. I'll come back to you.
Like
I don't know why I brought that up.
Like The Departed or something. God, I hated UMDs. Oh, I hated them.
Yeah, I don't think it was The Departed. Yeah, they're called UMDs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of them I owned was the Final Fantasy movie, but I don't think I bought that. I think that was given to me somehow, or it came with a package.
Probably.
Oh, man.
Maybe it just appeared one day, like, hey, we know that you're one of the people that bought a PSP. Enjoy this.
Right, you own a PSP, take this. Oh, man, I forgot what it was. It was the most ridiculous movie, too. I just can't think of it. Oh, man. I don't know. Sorry. Totally sidetracked.
That's all right.
Yeah. But anyway, where were we?
I think that was the end of the TV news. We don't have a ton of news this week.
Well, I did see that The Office is leaving Netflix in 2021. A lot of people. I know you don't like The Office, but man,
I do like The Office.
I thought you said you didn't.
That was a year and a half ago.
That's right. You watched it.
I watched it since then. Yeah, I did.
That's right.
Because I'm seeing that in my Facebook memories now, and I was like, oh yeah, this was a little after the time I started watching it again.
That's right. 2021, Universal's pulling it, so that's huge. A lot of people that I know, our age, that's kind of like their friends. That is their comfort food on Netflix, and it's incredibly quotable, and it maybe not holds up as well in 2019, but that's kind of like our generation's friends, and that's huge. I wonder why they would pull that.
Because they're starting their own streaming service in 2021.
Universal is?
Yep.
God, Universal and Warner Brothers as well.
NBC Universal for all their stuff, Warner Brothers for all their stuff. Ugh. CBS has already been doing it for their stuff. Like, everybody's gonna have it's gonna be a la carte anymore, and it's gonna wind up fizzing out because
they're gonna kill Netflix in the process.
Nah, Netflix will be fine.
Ooh, Netflix is not fine.
I know.
You see how much money they owe?
I know. I see the debt figures and everything, but they're still like Netflix will be fine.
You're probably right, but if any of them are going to be fine, it will be Netflix. But man, that to me, that's the only studio I can see giving my money to is Disney.
Yeah, Hulu will also be fine.
Hulu will be, yeah, but that's under Disney. I imagine Hulu and Disney will kind of do what they, kind of like what Xbox does, where it's like you get the ultimate deal for $15. I imagine Hulu and Disney Plus will offer like hey, you get this whole thing for $15 or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's all one package.
Well, and because Hulu, aside from what they're doing, is probably going to wind up migrating more towards like the mature Disney shows.
Yes.
Like they're doing now. The Marvel Runaways and then the animated shows and that's where I imagine a lot of that stuff going.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we don't want to put this on the same thing as the Disney Channel original movies service. What do we do with it? Put it on Hulu. Like that's.
Yeah. It'll be called the new Disney Plus.
Oh. Sleep.
Yeah, sleep. There you go.
Go home bank. Like, it's just, oh my god. Have it.
Why? Oh man, that's the other thing. Why would they introduce that new bank thing and then go, by the way, you can't transfer any of your Pokemon to the new game?
That just astounded me.
It's like,
the service that you use to store all your Pokemon, here's an updated version of it. It's not going to work with the new game, but...
That was such a oof moment. Like,
yeah,
and don't get me wrong. I'm on the side of it's not a big deal to me. I'm going to enjoy the new Pokemon in the game, and I'm going to have fun transferring them to, trading and getting them all that's in that dex. I'm not on the side that's like crazy about it, but I'm also thinking, what a huge mistake to introduce that, and then suddenly you can't use it. I think it's because of the Dynomaxing in the game. Like, they're just giant versions of those characters.
Yeah, but
I don't think they were like, well, let's do that for 900 or however many Pokemon there are.
Well, and they already said, though, that only Pokemon in that region can Dynamax.
See that? Okay, so if that's the case, then I don't know why they couldn't add the other ones like they've done in every other game.
I think original. I think this is going to be a time thing.
I hope so, and I
I
think
think
we talked about that before. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think that like 6 months from now they're going to be like, by the way, you can now have all your Pokemon again. Like,
and that's perfectly fine. By
yeah.
that time, most people have already fallen off, or it doesn't matter, and they're like the hardcore players. Are like, I got to get my whole entire deck in there.
Exactly.
Which is cool. That's the reason why a lot of people play Pokemon, and I get that urge to do that, and then about an hour or two later, I'm like, fuck, this is insane transferring all these Pokemon.
Yeah. No, I think that's going to be the plan. It would be weird. Yep. It would be very, very weird if they were just like, nope, this game exists in a bubble all off by itself. I don't see that happening.
Yeah. At least have the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu ones in there. I don't know. Maybe they're waiting to be like, hey, we're now releasing red, blue, yellow, all silver, all of this on the Switch, and they go, you can transfer those over. I don't know. It's hard to say with Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. A lot of decisions don't make too much sense, but you just gotta roll with the punches,
They need to go home and sleep on some of these things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't a wise decision. Oh yeah. But yeah, man, no, there hasn't been much TV news. We talked about the Wheel of Time casting last week, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really it, man. I'm so excited for that. I'm done with the first book. Moving on to the next one.
Nice. That took you what, a month?
Yeah. Well, hey, I've been busy.
And that's my other point though, is that these books are, you could beat things to death with this book.
And that's the problem is with me. I have like ADHD, so I will do a chapter or two. I'll read it. I'll have to reread it. I'll listen to the audio, and I'll do like an hour or two, and then like the next day, I'm like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Where are they at now? Wait, who's dead? I'm just kidding. I didn't spoil anything. But like, that's what you're thinking. Like, wait, what's going on? Is this a dream? And then you have to back up.
Yeah.
And you're basically rereading the book twice because how many times? That's my problem. So yeah, it takes forever.
Yeah, I started reading The Last Wish, the first of the Witcher books.
Oh, okay.
Really interesting.
Yeah, man, people love those the Witcher books.
Yeah, I love and I hope the rest of them kind of stick to this format where it's sort of like there is sort of a meta story, and everything else is like, you get to, I don't know this character. Who is this character? Here's the story of how they met or why this is important. Cut back to present day. And then, like, it's all little flashback segments, but they're all really interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's fast. I definitely big time recommend it.
Maybe I'll check that out.
Yeah, and I have not played in any great depth any of the Witcher games. I started to play 3, and then it was that thing of like, okay, this is a big game. It's gonna take me a lot of time. I have to really sink into this. And I think
you would like it if you dedicated yourself to it.
I absolutely believe that. I just did not have, and I knew that. I knew that when I started it. I was like, I would have to sink very heavy into this. And there was just never the time.
Right.
But I know it's, games like that where it's like, I know that if I got into it and really dug into it, I would enjoy the absolute hell out of it. Right. But it's just, it's like Skyrim like that. Where it was like, at least the first time around. After that, you do whatever the hell you want. But, that first time through, you dig in and you just find every piece of everything you can find,
Oh, yeah. My best advice for The Witcher, though, is the first area. Get out of that area as fast as you can because the game just opens up like insane.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need to play either of the first two to really enjoy the third one?
No, not at all.
Good. I didn't think so because that was kind of the way everybody talked about it.
No. You can look. There's YouTube videos out there from IGN and GameSpot where it's like, hey, you're jumping in The Witcher 3. Let me explain just a few things about this world right now, and that's all you need to know.
Excellent.
Yeah, because they, you get introduced to the characters how you should, and that they knew going in, hey, this is something different than what's come before. This one's really going to stand out. I think they knew what they were doing with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's really good. Yeah, and The Witcher, man, the Netflix series is coming out soon. That's another huge fantasy series. It's on my radar. I just have two big ones right now, though.
Yeah.
The Wheel of Time and the Starlight Archive is fucking insanely huge. I think the Eye of the World is like 700 and some odd pages.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. And the next one, and then I got sidetracked because then I got the D&D Player's Handbook, and I was like, all right, what character should I make? And then there's all these choices and all these races, and it's a lot to choose from.
It's true.
Yeah, but it all distracted me from going back to it. But then I went back to it and was like, all right, and man, the Wheel of Time stuff, it all starts out very much Lord of the Rings, but by the end of the first one, you kind of get a good idea of the characters. And my buddy Sean, he's a listener of the show, he was just telling me how much the world expands, especially after the first book, and how just massive it is. And
Nice.
I think there's like 78 main characters or some insane number. He told me, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. He's like, yeah, that's how many people you get like points of views and stuff from. And I'm like, that's crazy. So I'm looking forward to digging more into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Let's ring it on back. What was it? Wait, did we talk about the Boondocks?
No. But apparently the Boondocks is getting a reboot from the original creator Aaron McGruder.
Oh wow.
So I guess they're just gonna start over again. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, why not?
Oh yeah. What was that series? It's just a Netflix, an anime series.
Oh, Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Did you watch any of it?
I haven't yet. And here's the thing. I am not going to be as bothered by some of the things as everybody else on the planet is.
Wait, what happened? I don't know. What's going on.
Okay. Because of a music licensing issue, they had to remove like a karaoke cover of "Fly Me to the Moon" from the end credits.
Oh, okay. Like of every episode.
Yeah. They
weird.
had to replace it with something else that was just kind of apparently just like generic sounding kind of anime credits music.
Okay, that shouldn't be that big of a.
Well, it shouldn't be, but apparently.
That's it. Game over. It's like when they changed the music to Dragon Ball Z. It wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't change the. Yeah. Go ahead.
There are apparently some. This thing would, if I hadn't known this already, I don't think it would have bothered me because I probably wouldn't have noticed. But I knew a little bit about the original series, and this kind of does bother me. So I get why people are upset about this. They've toned down some of the like characters questioning their sexuality, like just in how they've changed some of the language around.
Is it like a translation thing?
It's more of like, well, because they did a whole new script for this.
Oh, okay.
They did a whole new script and a whole new voice cast, which is another thing that bothered the hell out of people. But some of the changes they've made were substantive instead of like, this character being like, no, I think I love this guy. It's more like, oh, I really like him. I would protect him. And it tones down the ideas of people trying to figure out just who they are.
I wonder why they did that.
I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of possibilities. But I don't. Yeah. And it's very strange to me that Netflix, with as much boundary pushing content as they do produce.
Well, sure.
Like why this? I don't understand. Why this was a thing. But there's apparently, like, if you were a diehard fan, then this might not be for you because of some of the changes that they made. And like I said, some of them are a little more cosmetic than others.
Mm-hmm.
I get the substantive changes, and I can especially understand the voice cast. Like if you're set in stone with something, and then they come along and they're like, we're gonna do this again, great. And then come to find out they've completely recast everybody. I get how jarring that could be. And you might listen to it and just be like, you know what, I don't like this, and I get that. I never really got into Evangelion before. I really wanted to, and just never did.
Yeah, I've never. Was there a way to even watch it without like? I don't think you could go to the store and buy it, right?
I don't think so. No, I think it was fairly discontinued. But this being the age of the internet, that's never really something to stop people. Right. But having this now on Netflix, like I get why if you were a big fan, this may not be for you. Right. I understand that. I respect that.
Yeah, totally.
But for me, I think this is gonna be just like a dive into of like, all right, this thing is iconic for a reason. let's see what
Right.
this is about, and I'll get there. I started watching the last season of Jessica Jones, and it's actually fairly interesting,
Yeah.
which is nice.
I couldn't get into the second season.
The villain's a little strange.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I come down on him yet.
Mm.
I it's I can understand people who had problems with kind of the slowness of season 2 might have some similar issues with season 3.
My thing with Jessica Jones is like, why should I finish this? What's the point?
It's the end of season 2 hits pretty hard.
I could not get into season
Like,
2. We tried watching that, and I
yeah.
was just like, what's going on? Like,
It's
they just keep circling the drain. It's like episode 4 or 5. I don't know. I just couldn't get into it. Maybe I'll give another chance.
a lot of season 2 is paid off in season 3. Like, you see, because
Okay.
a lot of, like, at the end of season 1 and everything, by the time you start season 2, not a whole lot has actually changed.
Well, the season 1 just had such a great premise and a great villain, and then by season 2, I'm like, what is happening?
And I think that was kind of the downfall of season 2 and potentially 3, because like I said, the villain in 3 is much more clear. It's very, like, this is a villain. This is not somebody with some messed up intentions or something. This is a villain.
Right.
But I don't think that they're entirely captivating. They're not really interesting, at least not so far. I think I'm not quite halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And, like, they have clear motivations and everything. I'm just not... I'm missing something. I don't know what.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, that was the thing about Daredevil that worked out so well for it, was that, season 1, Kingpin was such a masterfully done villain. Then to have kind of always had him lurking in the background in season 2, being like, oh, and by the way, this is still here. Season 2 was arguably the weaker one,
right?
Because the Hand was just such a strange villain. Like,
what's cool about that season though is you had the Punisher, you had Elektra, you had these other things that kind of that the villain was a little bit lame, but hey, you had these other cool things about it.
Right.
Where Jessica Jones, if you're gonna have a lame villain, put some other cool characters in there. Like, it was awesome Luke Cage was in there, but add some random. But now it's that thing of, this is a dead Marvel universe, so it's like, should I even get into it?
Well, it's
I had the same problem with the Punisher. I was like, what's the point?
Because it's a good story, especially with the Punisher. Punisher was a fantastic series.
It was. I don't know. That's my thought when I.
And I mean, that's understandable, but I mean, you have to just not everything is connected.
Right.
This again, I don't know. Give it a shot. See if you if you can like it or not. I'm working on season 3. I will get through it eventually. It's just it's interesting, but maybe not quite interesting enough. They're just, I don't know. There's just something missing. Yeah. And that's what's worse, is I can't put my finger on it. With season 2, it was easy, because I was not enamored with their choice of antagonist either.
Right.
And it was like, okay, well, here's where I'm not getting it. I want to like the villain in this season, but there's just something not clicking.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But I don't know, maybe the side stuff is kind of neat. The other characters around it are actually doing some more interesting things this season. They do have a lot more depth, I think. And that's a plus. That's definitely a plus. But I don't know. I'm holding to hope that it picks up here in the next couple of episodes.
Yeah. One thing that I want to finish is Star Trek.
Oh, Discovery, yes. I haven't seen season 2 yet.
Yeah, I haven't finished season 1.
Oh, you got to say, because Discovery was really good. Season 1 was great. I loved it.
I feel like I start watching it, and then I get so distracted. Someone texts me, and then I'm involved in something, and I'm in the wrong mood.
Yeah.
And they're talking about escaping a planet, and I'm like, I just can't deal with this right now, and I turn it off.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I see an ad for it. I see an article. I see Spock. I'm like, God, I need to get back into that, because holy shit.
Yeah. I need to check out season 2.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I love season 1, and then they're like season 2, and I was like, great, and then just never followed up on it.
Yep, exactly. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We got a tiny bit of video game news this week, where EA just went full on EA.
Hmm.
Like they went absolutely peak. Like they looked at somebody who did a parody comic of themselves and thought it was a good idea, I guess.
Yeah.
There was a hearing or a meeting or something in the UK Parliament, and Kerry Hopkins, who's like the VP of legal and like political affairs or government affairs or something at EA, sat there and said that loot boxes were, and I quote, surprise mechanics, and compared them to Kinder eggs and Hatchimals.
It's just it's so.
I cannot, to put that in perspective, if they had done that if in front of Congress here in the U.S., they would have sat there and had to call them surprise mechanics akin to a box of chocolates, because you never know what you're gonna get, and that's why they're gambling. That's why they were classified as gambling.
It's just it's not even comparable.
No, it's
in
not.
any way, shape, or
It's
form.
not even close.
Buying a Hatchable is not attached to a $60 game.
No, it's not.
Like it.
And the thing is, if you buy a Kinder Surprise egg, you're still getting the egg.
Yeah.
You're getting everything else, and then it's like, oh, and then there's this thing inside
and it's
it.
$1.
Yeah.
Like it's so stupid.
It's
not a $60 investment in a game, and that's the problem with EA, and that's the problem with a lot of these companies. We talked about it before, Bethesda, even Blizzard at this point with Activision.
Yeah.
That it's every game is turning into this. It's turning into how can we continue to get money out of our players, where it's either wait to win, whether either it or it's loot boxes. It's not. You know what? It's not. Hey, let's think of a game that's good enough. It could sell a lot of copies, and we can make money off of the sales of that game. You know what I mean? Like that's how
Yeah.
Bethesda used to make games.
Yeah, they would make a big ass game and just say, "Hey, this is done. Right. Go play it."
That's how Blizzard used to make games, and then of course they have expansions, and or a subscription with Warcraft. But at least you're getting so much content.
Right. That's I've never had a problem with expansions. I don't really, in principle, have a problem with DLC, because DLC that's done right are expansion packs.
Well, no, exactly. You know what you're getting.
Right.
Here, just like the CD Projekt Red, when they came out with the 3 expansion packs for Witcher, they were giant fucking expansion
packs.
Packs.
Were huge.
They were huge, and you knew exactly what you were getting. They were not surprise expansion packs. So yeah, CD Projekt Red, a great example. What's the studio did of Divinity Original Sin? Lorarian Studios or whatever.
Yeah.
The people doing the Baldur's Gate. That's an example of how you make a game and give people what they want. I think part of that was even crowdfunded.
Might have been.
To get the Dungeons and Dragons, like the game, the game whatever mode, Dungeon Master mode, and all that other stuff in it. But that's how you do that. That's when you know, okay, I can spend $30 on that game, and I know exactly what it comes with. It comes with all the expansion stuff, or if there are expansions, it's detailed.
Right.
But when it's surprise it's fucking lying through your teeth.
It is. It's ridiculous.
And it's never been more obvious than it is now.
And it's embarrassing. It's an embarrassment to the entire industry what EA is doing.
And at this point, I don't buy EA games except for when a new Star Wars one comes out. And at this point, I don't even know. I'm honestly thinking about I don't know if I want to boycott them, but what do you do? Like, the only thing I can do to show these studios that I don't like that is to simply not buy their games, right?
I mean, that's true. That's
the one thing they're holding on to is the Star Wars for me.
I think you're the bigger proponent here of voting with your wallet.
Yeah. It's one of those where I might rent it or borrow it from somebody, or so I don't have to pay for it.
Redbox it,
Yeah, I could do Redbox. I'll give Redbox some money. I don't want to pay for those games.
Yeah.
I don't want to give EA any money. It's such a shame they have such a tight lock on Star Wars, and I wish Disney would see this, but I don't know.
You know,
They don't really care.
well, I mean, it makes you wonder what kind of deal they have that could they even back out of it if they really wanted to.
Yeah, it's just
Without knowing the specifics of that, it's hard to say like, oh, well, they could do this or they could do that. They may
yeah.
be locked into something. Who knows?
It's so much wasted time. There's gonna be so many people that fall out of gaming by the time they lose that license, or it's
Yeah.
just, uh, or the people that are old, like, hey, I
Well,
want a new good Star Wars game in 10 years. It's
well, and
I've,
I mean, hell, one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made was done by BioWare, which is an EA studio. So why in the hell, like, why,
because of
why?
Anthem, they were too concerned about the live games, and it's more prevalent than ever. Jim Sterling just did a recent video, I think like today, talking like it was the CEO of EJ, just like they don't care what people's perception of their company. Live games are here and they're here to stay. That's essentially what the guy was saying, and it was in regards to Anthem,
Yeah.
and it's like it's obviously not working.
It's
People don't care.
it's true that the concept is here to stay, but Anthem won't be because nobody's really playing that.
It was a disaster.
You know, the
Destiny got out of Activision because of it was a disaster.
yeah.
They made a lot of money. Granted, Destiny made a lot of money. Destiny 2 did as well, but critically, not good.
Yeah.
Destiny 2, all my friends fell off of it.
Yeah, I did too. I
Yeah.
played the hell out of it for the story, but I mean after that, like there was no where was the replay incentive? You
Yeah,
know,
no, it's
but
the great mechanics, great people behind it. It feels great to shoot. It's spongy, but the live action model, not everyone wants to sit down and play that all the time. Like
right.
you have room, I think. It's hard at our age to even have room for one of those kind of games, let alone 2 or 3 or 4. If you're gonna have a live type game, you're either picking Warcraft, you're picking
The Division
Division,
gets a good
right?
subscription base. Like they're
Right.
solid on that.
Yeah, yeah. You're picking ESO, you're picking Destiny, you're picking one of those. And for every studio to be like, hey, we're gonna offer 1, 2, 3, 4, no.
No, it doesn't work that way. It just
No.
doesn't. And even like I mean, here's the thing: even with battle royale games, those games do not go on forever. They're matches.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're in. It's over. You're out. Like that's
the two biggest games that we heard at E3 this year were Cyberpunk and the Star Wars game. And it's because they don't have any of that stuff. And I'm still cautious about Star Wars. I'm still super cautious that they're not going to try and add stuff like that.
I mean, aside from that, what is the 7 remake? And that's you don't get any more single player than an old school JRPG. Like, and I mean, I get it. This is actiony and it's not turn based, but the point still stands. It is a single player game. That's why I love that Sony came out. What was it, a couple weeks or so ago, whatever it was, and was just like, no, we're very committed to like the cinematic, story driven one player games.
I mean, all the big Sony games that are set to come out this year or next year or whatever are all giant single player story driven games.
Sony has never. And I say this with the small caveat of I can't think of any offhand. Sony's biggest titles are not multiplayer driven. They're single player. God of War, Uncharted, Spider-Man.
Yep.
All of these are are at least primarily single player games.
And those are a big reason why people went to PlayStation, because you can only find them on PlayStation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what sells units, and that's what sells. I get it that these are giant companies, EA and Activision and all that, and they have a bottom line, and they don't really care. They don't care about people, and they just care about money essentially.
If they keep making crappy products, then they're going to have to start caring because they're not going to be making any money.
Right, and I'm sure there's a ton of great people that work for them, so I don't want to get that twisted.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm talking about the company. I'm not talking about those people. It's the company's bottom line, because those people, I'm sure, are just as frustrated.
Oh, probably.
Are just as frustrated that I could imagine working for BioWare. What you're known for, what they did, Baldur's Gate, they did KOTOR, all of these crazy, insanely awesome single player games, and now they're doing Anthem.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous, and it's I don't know, it's just garbage. You got all, and then you look at Nintendo. Nintendo knows how to do that.
Right, and
You know,
Nintendo was another one where it's like here is a
yeah.
focused story-driven game. Mario games are not the big tentpole Mario titles are single-player games. Yeah,
Yeah.
they have the little fun multiplayer spin-offs too. You've got I mean
Mhm.
Mario Party and tennis and all that stuff.
Sure.
But and I
But
mean
you can go play Luigi's Mansion and you know that you're not going to get loot boxes.
right.
You know what I mean? Like you know that when you're getting the next giant whatever game, it's not going to be like that. Um, Pokemon stuff like that. They're smart because they'll merchandise the hell out of it. They have other ways of making money.
Sure, and that's the way you do it. Make a
Yeah,
good game and then make a bunch of t-shirts and plushies
sure.
and phone cases and all that kind of stuff off of
And
it.
that way, when you have someone wanting to spend a ton of money, they have, and it doesn't hurt the game.
Exactly.
But
That's
surprise mechanics just immediately turn me off.
surprise mechanics, Jesus.
The word surprise mechanic, where I'm going to drill that into the ground too. I like that Jim Sterling said that. He's like, I'm not going to stop using that word because they need to be embarrassed by it.
Surprise
It's
mechanics. I can't.
what was the phrase like a year or so ago about facts, or what was it?
Oh, what was it? Alternative facts.
Alternative facts. It's just as
It's
ridiculous.
surprise mechanics. It's just.
Just as ridiculous.
I really hope that that every EA press release about a video game gets a million tweets back at it. Will this game have surprise mechanics?
Yeah.
I want just everything. I'm sorry. I love Star Wars to death. I don't care. Every time they want to put up any kind of
Mhm.
anything on Twitter about a game, I want everybody to jump
Oh, yeah.
back with like, but are there surprise mechanics?
Yeah. No, I don't want. I don't want the Jeff Gerstmann. I don't want, kind of funny. I want any of those guys to shy away from that when they have those people in the hot seat to be like,
Yeah.
does this have surprise mechanics? Because
Absolutely.
you sure seem to love them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Now
that's
this-
immediately going to be maybe go, nope, done. You
No.
burned me twice with Battlefront. Get that license away from them.
No, it's ridiculous. It's upsetting. It's so upsetting to see like here's this company that is openly acting like people are stupid.
Yeah.
And more often than not they're right, but the problem is look, we have our differences with various segments of the gaming community on any
Sure.
given day. But there are times where we can all just kind of look at something and just look at this and just go, no, this is ridiculous.
Well, I think, in a few weeks we're going to have the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 come out on the Switch, and it's like, why couldn't you do that kind of deal with companies where it's like, this company, they're going to put out Spider-Man on PlayStation. They're going to put out Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch, and that's the perfect game for the Switch. I would love a Star Wars game like that on the Switch.
Absolutely.
A side-scrolling, brawling game with the Star Wars characters.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars game or something. You're Ahsoka. Like, any of that would have been perfect. By the way, why isn't Ahsoka the main star of this new Star Wars game to begin with? That's crazy. She should have been the main character.
It's a damn good question.
Yeah,
really
it's
is.
insane that she's not. Like, that would sell even more than it would.
Yeah, well, do you really think EA was for... we come back to the same nonsense, They want surprise mechanics, and how many people in EA do you think really would have looked at this and said... And would have honestly said, we can't have a female lead? Because this is still a thing. It's 2019, this is still a thing.
No way.
You think...
There's so many female leads in games now, but I agree with you.
Let me say this though, and this is me kind of playing devil's advocate. Which title sold better, Uncharted or Tomb Raider? Same game, different people.
The Uncharted series was better.
I would grant you that. I would actually argue that gameplay wise, Tomb Raider was better. Shadow of Tomb Raider plays better than any Uncharted game. Did not sell.
Yeah, I didn't play that one.
Yeah. You should have. It's good. It's very good. It's on Game Pass, I think.
Yeah, but you're right. You're definitely right.
So, I mean, that's don't think for a second that wasn't a consideration somewhere.
Yeah.
Which is
you're probably right.
Which is sad and disgusting and unfortunate.
It is sad.
But it was.
See, I don't even think of stuff like that. Like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah, it should
I'm
be
sitting
crazy.
Going, I would love to play Ahsoka in that game.
It should be crazy to everybody. Like, that should be something people, like, a thought that crosses somebody's mind, and immediately they just go, nah, it's stupid, and move on. But it's not. It's really not. How many people do you think are going to be mad at The Last of Us Part 2? Are already mad at The Last of Us Part 2?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's another one that's going to be female, but you're right.
But here's the thing, though. Sony doesn't care. Sony is going to make their games, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I applaud them for that and for sticking to their guns and saying, look, this is this game. These are these characters. If you don't like them, go do something else. There is not the kind of bowing to that sort of pressure, at least not anymore. I'm sure there was in the past. I'm sure there are plenty of examples.
Look at Horizon Zero Dawn,
That game deserved more than it got. That's a game that like people really love, but it didn't sell what it should have.
Right. Right. I agree.
That's another one where it was a better mechanic-wise, it was a better playing game than God of War.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yes, I do. I will.
No.
I will say
I love the mechanics of God of War. When that axe comes back and hits you in the hand, and oh man, it's so good.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not as good. It's not as good as Horizon was.
I don't know. We'll have to agree to disagree with
That's
that
fair.
one.
I'm all right with that.
But I totally agree with you that it should have sold way more.
Yeah.
But man, I need to boot that one back up too. I never finished that one.
Yeah.
There's just these open world games are too much for me. But man, I will take 1,000,000 in open world games over these loot box shit any day.
Surprise mechanics.
Yeah, man. And I think that's honestly maybe that's why Blizzard is doing Overwatch 2, because they have to get away from that system. I'm thinking I want to believe, I should say, that these companies are getting afraid that, especially the international, in worldwide, there's countries that are just like straight up, no, those are not allowed in our country, or suddenly it's going to be M-rated.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't sell it to someone under 18 without a license or blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking that's why Blizzard's like, oh shit, we got to fix Overwatch. We got to somehow change it to the model of Apex Legends and Fortnite, which would actually make way more sense.
Yeah.
You get people to buy the pack. You know what's in the pack. It's not a surprise. You get every level. You know exactly what you're getting. And then every week, it's a random change of here are some skins that are only going to be in the store for 24 hours. That's how you do it. There's no surprise there.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you're getting. You know exactly what you're buying. And if you want to spend $10 on an outfit, and sure, it might be there for it might be there for 24 hours, but at least you know what you're buying.
Right. That's the biggest thing.
It might pressure you, but at least you know what you're getting.
Right, and that's the point, is that it's not about banning microtransactions. It's about this whole thing of like you spend money on something and you don't, and it's a crapshoot.
Exactly.
Like I have no problem with if they're like, hey, here's this. I always go back to like the first time I saw this was one of the Call of Duties, where it was like you can buy skins for your guns. They had absolutely no bearing on anything, except they made your guns look different, and they were ridiculously expensive. And I thought, I remember looking at this and thinking, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It'll never work. That goes right up there with, oh man, James Cameron's new alien-looking movie with blue cats is just, like, this just looks like a disaster. It's not going to make any money.
Yep.
Those two go in the hall, man. They go in my, boy, was I the dude who passed on the Beatles Hall of Fame. Like, I did not see these coming, but they sure did.
Yeah, and I think there's a big controversy now with Black Ops 4. I don't have it in front of me, so I don't really want to talk about it. But there's a huge issue now with the loot boxes and what you can. It's basically pay to win type stuff now.
There's a shock.
Like it's now completely integrated. But I don't want to speak about it because I haven't played it and I don't have it in front of me or anything like that.
Well, I mean, it's Activision. That's not a surprise.
Yeah. But man, like I said, the games I'm looking forward to this year, next year, they're all like the Marvel Ultimate Alliance and stuff like that, where it's like I can buy that, and yeah, sure, it has the DLC, but I know what I'm getting.
Right, and it's
Cyberpunk,
also,
all of that.
Exactly, like, and it's also like you don't need it.
Yeah.
It's not like here's stuff you need to progress through games. Like, no, hey, you want these extra characters? Here you go.
Exactly. Yep. So that I just hope that's, and we could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but people are still going to be like, you know what? I got $10. I'm just gonna roll the dice. Man, if you're gonna waste, no, I shouldn't say. I was gonna say if you're gonna gamble, actually get rewards from it. But I don't want to tell people about their gambling either. So, but yeah, man. So I think that's it for video games.
Yeah.
Oh, we had some comic book news. Did you see J.J. Abrams and his son is doing a Spider-Man comic?
Yeah, I think I saw that headline and I was like, oh, that's okay. Like, I don't know how to feel about that, really.
Yeah, no, I mean it's gonna be a Spider-Man comic. I'm interested in, I think his son's there because they want the comic to finish. Anytime there's a big person on a comic, I always am like, okay, Kevin Smith, all right, we'll see your comic when it comes out. Or who else was it? Speaking of J.J. Abrams, it was who's the guy doing Watchmen now?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
you asked me too quick.
the Lost producer.
Yeah, I know exactly who you mean.
David Lindelof.
Yes.
Yeah, he did. He was supposed to do like 3 or 4 of the Wolverine verse Hulk for Ultimate X-Men, and they got 1 issue out.
Yeah, they got one. Remember that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I never heard of his son before, so it'd be interesting to see what it's like. But it's a limited series, so it did spark a debate real fast. I want to ask you, because the way they produced it, the way they introduced it was they put out teaser logos with a spider and a 4 next to it.
Oh, I remember that, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Spider-Man 4," and I was like, "Let's chill."
Yeah, they're like, well, the thought was like, wait, are they going to do a comic with
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire, or is Tobey Maguire somehow involved? And it got people wondering, hey, what if Sony added Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the Spider-Man movies?
I would love that, and so would Tom Holland.
Yeah, what if they did a Spider-Verse and Tobey Maguire said, 100% I'd be on board. Absolutely. I would love to do that, but it's not up to him. He's like, it's totally not up to me. He's like, I can't just go to Kevin Feige and say, put me in the movie.
Yeah.
But at least it got the word out there. At least now it's got people going, oh shit, I would love to see that. Put Miles Morales, put all of them in it. Do a live action Spider-Verse. It doesn't have to be as grandiose, but to have that lineage there in those movies
Oh yeah.
would be awesome.
Oh, it'd be fantastic.
Be awesome. And put Fantastic Four, have someone with the bag on.
Oh,
Be like, hey guys, who are you? I was from the canceled Fantastic Four movie. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, man, I thought that would be cool.
I think that would be a great idea. I do. Because they would do it right.
Oh yeah. Real fast, before we get into the wrestling, you know what else I've been watching?
Do tell.
Lucifer.
I've actually been talking to a lot of people who've been checking it out now that it's on Netflix.
Yeah, my friend, she was watching it the other day randomly. It was like a week or so ago. And I came over and she was like a few episodes in. She was like, this is really good. We should watch it. Blah, blah. And she likes a lot of shows that I don't like. Vice versa. Like, we're just very different. But I think that's why we get along. So anyway, she puts it on. It's really good. It's really good. It's one of those like, hey, we're a cop show, but we have to have some guy follow us, and there's something up with him. It's just like kind of what like Bones, or like
Castle, I think, is kind of what you're thinking of.
Bingo, Castle, yes. Or it's kind of like how you have House, where there's something different there. That's what this is. It's basically a cop show. And the thing is, oh, hey, by the way, Lucifer's like, hey, you know what? Let's see what humanity's like.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And in the first season, there's a lot of the biblical stuff, but it really starts to dive in the second season, where the episodes feel way more connected with each other, where it's not just every episode kind of runs into the next and you have a villain of the week. But it's kind of like Smallville, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it gets way more, but it's good. It's really good. We're on the second season now. We've been blown through them. But yeah, so I think this is gonna be like 5 seasons. I don't know, but we're on the second now.
Yeah, it's at 4, but they're going to add a 5th and final.
Oh yeah. I see here Lucifer tops Netflix binge watching for 7th week in a row. Yeah, I guess they must have either just added it or just added to Netflix or whatever. So
yeah, season 4 hasn't been out too long.
Yeah, so yeah, so I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, let's talk wrestling.
Yeah, let's. I'll tell you what though. Stomping Grounds was not all that bad.
Yeah, I saw most of it.
It was pleasantly surprising. It was one of those where they just kind of put it out there, and I think because there was no, it was that show of like, what was it, like Backlash last year or something like that, where it was like, here's a card that absolutely no one's excited for, so they didn't seem to pay a whole lot of attention to it, and damned if it didn't mess around and wind up being a good show.
I think Triple H had a lot more to do with this than Vince.
Yes, I think so.
And I think that's why they kept showing him, or they at least showed him that one time with Ricochet.
Yeah, I think so. And that's, because I mean, you think about like the tag matches were great. Joe and Ricochet put on easily match of the night.
Yeah.
No question at all.
Yeah.
And a damn good match. For sure. Becky and Lacey did what Becky and Lacey do. It was fine. I
like Bayley and Bliss.
Bayley and Bliss was interesting because of. Are they setting up like a double turn here? What are they doing?
I liked I liked what they did the week before because I kind of stopped watching Raw.
Yeah.
But then I saw people were talking about Bliss, her promo, and I was like, okay, I'll check that out, and it was good. It was real good. Like it's because it felt real.
Yeah.
The stuff she was saying about Bayley.
I mean, yeah, but no.
What do you mean no? What do you mean?
I can't get on board with Alexa going back to because she does great heel work, but I cannot get behind more of Alexa saying, "Oh no, so and so is being a bully to you. You have to I can't do the gaslighting. I just can't do it."
The gaslighting? No, hold up.
Am I confusing my promos here because they kind of all blur together between Nikki and Alexa and them?
Yeah, the week before, it was the last one. The one right before there was the go home show or whatever.
Yeah.
And she was basically saying, I have the career you wanted. When you peaked in NXT, that kind of stuff is where I was like, oh shit, because there's actually truth to that. That even though Bayley did get the belt and she had a run or whatever, they never went anywhere. They all fizzled out. And the people who stole the show was Alexa. She mentioned Charlotte for no reason. Well, there was a reason, but it felt so out of the blue. It felt like there must have been some truth to that because she goes, she said, no one in the locker room liked me. And when I came to you, who's supposed to be the nice person, you shunned me too. She said, the only person in that locker room that actually gave me any good advice was Charlotte. There's no reason to say her name. That's why it felt real. It was like, oh shit, could there have been some truth to that?
Yeah,
because
that's fair.
There is some truth to her beefing with Sasha, and that's where you could tell that was the underlying thing behind all of it. She was just like, look, you had your little click and you had your little whatever, and you didn't. I don't know if you've seen it. You got to watch her promo.
I need to go back and watch it. I guess I just missed that one because it always seemed like all her promos were her talking to Nikki about how Bayley's a bad person who doesn't like fans, and I was just tuned in.
It had nothing to do with that. No, even the Cultaholic people did like a whole hour on this one promo. They were like, "What was that about?" And it was so good. It was so good, man. Yeah, go back and watch that.
Yeah, I'll go check that out again.
It was nothing really about the fan stuff. It was more about just Alexa basically telling her I have the career you wanted. You peaked in NXT and no one liked me in NXT, but when I got here, I was the star of the show and you can't handle that. And it's so good. It's because it feels like Alexa's kind of tapping into some real things that happened. And that's why this is night and day from when they did the life of Bayley or whatever. That felt so like Vince McMahon going, go out there and say this stuff. Where this felt more like something like Triple H would get them to do. I don't know, man. It was really good, and that's what made me want to make sure that was one of the matches I saw, and I really liked it. I think Alexa should have won, but because where do you go from here? What do they say? You're right. What are they setting up? Are they going to make Alexa the face now, and Bayley's going to turn heel?
I just want Bayley to be a little more grounded. The last chunk of her run in NXT, her feud with Sasha, and then until she got called up, when she stopped being just the bouncy huggy I love everybody Bayley and started. Where I can't remember where I heard or read this before. There was almost kind of a Bushido about Bayley, where it was she's happy and she enjoys life and stuff, but there is a code, and if you push her, she is gonna whoop you. Yeah. And that was what's been missing for a long time. There's there hasn't been intensity there, but in the last month or so, we've actually started to see badass Bayley.
Oh
And
yeah.
I want that. Like, that's what I'm looking for. Like, be happy, enjoy the fans, but when that bell rings, bring the whooping.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it was just so good. Like the little things they did in the match, like when Alexa, she did what was it, Trish Stratus's move where she licks her hand,
Yeah.
stops in front of her and slap. Like all those little things, I was like, this is good. These are the little bits that just make the match good for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really liked that match. Kofi.
Kofi and Dolph had an okay match that ended spectacularly.
Yeah, I like the end
That
of it.
ending was great because it was very much. I love the idea of like, here's, for everybody who talks about who wants it more. Here's Dolph who's like crawling to the edge of the ring and is gonna like
Hmm.
fall out, and Kofi just saying like screw this and just dives out of the ring. It was
See,
brilliant.
the thing with it's man, it's a problem with Dolph. Anytime I see him in a match, I know unless they do something different, he's always gonna lose.
Dolph has never been interesting to me.
Yeah.
Not when he cashed in. When he cashed in on Del Rio, I was not one of those people who went crazy. I was just like, oh yeah, it's that dude
Right.
who from a long time out was kind of pegged as the next HBK and then rolled with that.
Yeah.
And just like kind of let that become him, and now he just has no, it should have been me. Shut up. No, it shouldn't have. You weren't interesting. You were never somebody. You were
Right.
never your own person. And then to
And
come.
it's not going anywhere.
No, it's not. It's like, why did he drop the U.S. title, leave for a month, come back at the Royal Rumble, get thrown out immediately, and then come back whining about all the opportunities that he didn't have? Like,
Yeah.
there is no consistency to it. There's no coherency at all, and I never clicked with him, but now it's even worse because it's like you're not making sense at all. I liked it when he was so fired up when he won the U.S. title a while back, or the Intercontinental title, his feud with The Miz over the IC title a couple years ago, when Dolph was, banging his head against everything and being like, I love being here, but I need to, I keep getting screwed out of this and that, and then had that big win, and it was great, and I was like, let's do something with this, and then he lost it like a month later, if it was even that. And I was like, yeah, you guys just kind of totally dropped the ball with this.
Yeah.
So again, it's a booking problem as well as a character problem. Because if Dolph had one direction to go in, that would be great. Instead of, bouncing from one to another every other month. But I don't know. I get it. A lot of it was because they didn't know who else to pair against Kofi and this and that. But he
Hmm.
needs he needs a solid challenger now, and I think Samoa Joe is it. And I am very excited for this program.
Oh yeah, Samoa Joe. I mean, Kevin Owens could have been it, but they didn't let that.
That
You know,
It didn't go anywhere.
didn't go anywhere.
It
Yeah.
didn't go
And
anywhere.
man, the rumors of who's going to be taking it.
Man, I don't even. I no, just no. Like
It's just
that's
everything that's wrong with them is summed up in that.
yeah.
Should we talk about it? Should we say who's rumored to?
Sure, the idea being floated was, and hopefully that's kind of died now because that momentum seems to have stalled against Roman.
Yeah.
Was Shane McMahon,
Yeah.
and I was just like, no,
Mhm.
no, like beyond no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
When Vince won the title from Triple H on a fluke, it made sense in that story. It's still ridiculous,
Hmm.
but then he vacated it the next night, and it was just like, yeah, this is not for me. And
Right.
it's, in a way, it kind of cheapened it, but it was also and it did a little bit diminish the idea of the WWF at the time title because it and Triple H were kind of used as a prop in the Austin McMahon story.
Yeah, but how many times did Austin win the championship?
Not all
We knew
that
he
many.
wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
But
Not
Kofi, it's not like that.
no.
Kofi is the underdog, and Steve was the underdog at a time, but at that time he wasn't. He was the biggest thing that ever happened to wrestling at that time.
Yeah, and he won, especially against McMahon. Not just in the match, but he won those segments more often than not.
Right, exactly. And if they take it away from Kofi, it's not going to feel the same.
No, it's not going to be like,
It's
oh, the evil McMahon screws over the talent. It's just going to be like, oh no, the
yeah,
brat gets something else now.
it's going to be. Wait, what are we doing on Wednesday nights in October?
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be the feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's insane. The draw that AEW. I'm curious what it's going to be like when they do a week-to-week show, and when they have more pay-per-views. I like that they're not going to have as many, obviously, as the WWE. If they have 3 or 4 a year, it's going to feel like a special event.
I think they're gonna build up to more than that. I think you're gonna see one every couple months. And
Right.
I honestly think that's where it should stay. I think if you had these events every 2 months instead of every month, it would
Well,
be
it's going to get expensive. I mean,
it would be so
six.
much better.
And I liked hearing what Cody said, where he was like, we know it's a lot to ask someone to part with $60, especially when the price to get the WWE Network a year is, to ask people to part for $60 for one event is huge.
Right.
So we have to make it worth it, and we have to make it special. And to me, a couple a year for that price, unless they figure out a way to lower it, or like, I don't know, somehow get it added onto some program like Amazon or something like that, which I'm surprised these companies haven't thought of doing something like that, like teaming up with Netflix or something.
I mean,
to get a cut.
look at the NFL and Amazon. Like
Yeah.
they have Thursday night games on Amazon.
Oh, I would love that. I'd love if they could somehow figure out a way to do that, even with like Twitch or something, to get a partnership where
Well, because
it is
Impact,
cheaper.
what was it like? Impact and AAA do that. Like they did
Yeah.
something through Twitch once.
They do, and you can take donations and all this other kind of crazy stuff. And wrestling fans would totally do that.
They would in a heartbeat. Like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this much. I would rather see that where here's this
Have tier
program on
levels,
Twitch,
yeah.
and have as people get excited about something, donate, because I
Yes.
bet you would make more money overall that way than if you did like here's the flat,
Yep.
$50-$60 rate for this pay-per-view. You would
Yeah.
have more eyes on it, you would get more exposure from it, and I would almost guarantee you make more money off of it.
You get emotes. People will pay for emotes. You'll get emotes for a special tier. You can sell T-shirts. You can do all that crazy kind of
Yep.
stuff. And the thing is the people running AEW, they're young. They took over at Hot Topic. You know what I mean? Like, they know what they're doing.
They built. Let's be honest. They built AEW on the back of a YouTube show. This
Yep.
entire wrestling enterprise that it's going to be was built off of being the elite.
I'm surprised they haven't teamed up with YouTuber. One of these people. And who's to say what they do in the future?
Yeah.
The future it's going to be wild. It's going to be so much fun to watch. That's why I'm glad Chris Jericho's right in there, because he's been kind of at the cusp of all these companies. He's going to go down. He's going to go down as one of the greatest. It's a lot of people's top fives, just because of how just think of all the companies he's been in.
And what he's done in every company. It's not just that he was
Exactly.
there, but it's that he was vital in a lot of ways.
Right.
I mean, he was the cruiserweight in WCW for a while. I mean,
Yep.
him and the Radicals and Ray, I mean, they were the cruiserweight division forever. And then when he jumped ship to Monday Night Raw, I mean, his debut was
Completely reinvented
interrupting
himself.
The Rock. I mean, he was
Yeah.
a whole new Jericho, and then he had to reinvent himself after that first push died
Yep.
off, and he did it. And then every time he's come back, he's been somebody new. His feud with HBK, where he was just basically the silent, short-haired, suit-wearing Jericho, that was brilliant. The list of Jericho. He took out... how do you make a clipboard work?
Yeah.
How do you make a clipboard the most over thing in an entire company? How in the hell do you do that? Because you're Chris freaking Jericho, that's how.
Oh yeah, and then he goes to Japan and puts on insane matches.
He sells out a cruise.
Yeah.
I mean, there's...
It's true.
It's ridiculous. But
Yeah.
there's, it's all about that reinvention. And Jericho has never been one, so it has appeared, who has valued his own. He's never been one of like the Hogans in the idea of like it has to be about me. I mean, yeah, he wants to win, he wants the payday, but at the end of it all, he wants there to be a company to be big in.
Oh yeah, he's got an ego. He's got all of that stuff, but he doesn't seem like the kind of person that's going to throw that around.
No, I mean, you have to. The whole idea of being the face of a company, of being the champ, you have to have an ego. But
yeah, I guess I mean like to
yeah,
throw it around to make it worse. He's whatever it is to make it better.
right, right.
And the stuff he's been saying on Twitter, the stuff he's been saying on his podcast about like he doesn't want this about him, and that's why I'm curious, like, because he is in the no wait, yeah, it is him in the championship match. I'm curious who it's going to go to.
It'll be Paige. It'll be Hangman Page.
I think it's going to be Paige too, but Chris probably the biggest face in the company right now. Biggest, well, not face, but you know what I mean. The biggest star in the company right now.
Kenny Omega.
Well, Kenny Omega's but behind him, I think, personally, because of just how big Chris Jericho's career is. Where Kenny Omega is huge, especially to indie people and people outside of the WWE. But I'm just talking about, like, all over appeal. More people, if I go up to someone now who watched wrestling as a kid, they know who Chris Jericho is.
True. Jericho is in a very broad sense. In
Yes.
the sense of let me make sure I get this right. In the sense of magnitude of signing, I'll say this.
Right.
To AEW what Hogan was to WCW.
Right, and I think Kenny will be the biggest star probably because I think Jericho is gonna obviously take a lot of time. He's got his rock stuff. He's not gonna be. I don't think he'll be there every time. I think absolutely it will be Kenny Omega. It will be Moxley. It will be those people that are running the show that you'll see night in, night out, and it should be.
Kenny is the Sting of AEW.
Yes, yeah, and man, he's so much fun. He's such a nerd. He's such a gamer. It was cool to see him at E3 on. I don't know if you watched it, the Giant Bomb at night.
No, but I'm not surprised he was there.
Oh yeah, him and Xavier couldn't be in the same room at the same time because Xavier would leave the room, he would show up. He would leave the room, Xavier would show up, and they would talk.
And I wonder if that was like actual like legal stuff or if they were just having fun with that.
I think Xavier was probably talked to like, hey, make sure you're not shown with that guy. Because that's they're like, wait, I think I heard someone's voice here, and he'd walk out, and then he'd pop up. But I don't know, it was fun to watch. It's fun to see that kind of goofy stuff. They know their audience.
Yeah.
They know who's gonna be watching this, and it was a Dave Meltzer that said the amount of draw that Chicago show has, WWE has never touched.
No, because I remember, we talked about Cultaholic a minute ago. They gave numbers on just the people in the line online who were queued up just to check out tickets. They might not all have been buying them, but it was it wound up being 75,000 people.
Yeah, and granted, it's a smaller venue. They'll debut their championship, and this is going to be right before they get on TV. So there's, I expect it to die down, of course, whenever they go weekly and stuff like that. But this is huge. This is big. It feels like there's some traction here, and I like how they're talking about. They're not saying we're not. I don't think they use the word competition, or the way they phrased it was like we want to be the alternative. We want to be like,
that's it. That's what they keep saying. We're an alternative product.
Yes, and I think that's so smart because you can't go in there going, we're going to beat you, we're going to go up. No, that's not going to work. They're too big. They're the Disney. But if you offer something a little bit different, people are going to go, hey, what was it Moxley said? I like Quentin Tarantino movies. You can't get that at Disney now.
Yeah.
So, if you like those if you want to see an alternative, we offer that. You can still watch your Monday Night Raws. You can still watch. And I hope that it does make the WWE make some adjustments to see, oh, hey, wait, there's a giant draw over there. Why is that? Oh, that's because, they let the talent have a little bit more control over what they're saying. And like I said, man, that Alexa Bliss thing, it was completely different than all the other things she's been saying. And I think it's because there was some truth to it. And they probably let her it just felt way more natural. There's a point in that promo where Alexa just felt like it was coming from the heart. Like it was a stinger when she was like, you peaked in NXT, and I was like, oh my God. So it was little things like that.
And I mean, that's tough to say to somebody who was NXT Women's Champ, Raw Women's Champ, SmackDown Women's Champ.
True, but I'm telling you, when you're watching it, it feels like, oh shit, is she allowed to say that? Is that like, it felt like that moment. And that's when wrestling is at best, when you're questioning if it's a shoot or not.
Yeah.
And that's why it felt good. And you could think about it afterwards. Well, yeah, of course Bayley's done everything.
Yeah, coming from Alexa, who was last in the draft. Like, I mean,
But I don't know. You have to see. It makes sense what she's saying, because as soon as Alexa came into it, she has been the big star. Whether she, she had the titles for how long?
I agree.
I feel like when Bailey get it, she got it for like a week or two, and it was taken away.
Yeah. But
so
it's I get that. I do. I get where that's coming from, but I'm just like, okay, let's see. But I'm all for, as long as nobody thinks that they can try to. Here's what's weird to me, because if we're gonna talk about like beefs and being real and stuff, how did Will Ospreay win a Twitter feud? He's terrible at Twitter. He's awful at Twitter. I have begged him to stay off Twitter because he's just bad at it. But he won this week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Especially when he said to Corbin.
God. Oh, Baron. Why did Baron even try to get involved? Like, that's... Again, we don't want Baron Corbin involved in anything because he's bad at it.
What's the YouTube channel where they're like the vortex of Corbin?
Yes. Oh,
everything's getting sucked. I think it's like Wrestle Talk.
It might be.
Do you watch them? Yeah, like the vortex of Corbin, and everything is getting sucked into the and it was Corbin vortex.
Yeah, except no, it's just so awful at it.
Yeah.
And Seth, here was the point I would have wanted somebody to make to Seth. His whole thing about this is the best wrestling on the planet today. Why is that then on a show that's only on the network that nobody watches, and these matches are always on the pre-show that nobody watches? Let's you want a real talk? Then let's real talk. But
yeah, it's so funny, man. Chris Jericho's like, wait a second, he's actually taller and bigger than you.
Yeah,
because he's like, hey, little guy, and then he goes, Chris Jericho did the hashtag best wrestling on the planet, and it showed a tug of war match.
Yeah, I mean, let's.
Oh man,
we'll call a spade here. But
right.
If Seth had wanted to win that feud, he shouldn't have come back with how much money he made. He should have come back with how much longer his career is going to go on compared to Ospreay's.
Oh yeah,
which would have hit pretty hard and not have been real pleasant, but it would have also been true.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I saw that Will's he's like, little guy T-shirts coming soon.
Hey man, grab it and go.
Yeah, Chris said extra medium, please. It's so funny. Yeah, man.
That would
Seth,
be great.
He's not as good as Becky on Twitter. It's oh man. At first I'm like, yes. I want to see these companies be proud of what you do. Seth is one of the best wrestlers on the planet, sure. But now it's getting funny.
Yeah.
It's just getting ridiculous.
That's why I love Big E, because because he doesn't tweet wrestling, he tweets everything else, and you just cannot touch it. Right. There is nobody in that company at all better on Twitter than Big E.
And I like that his Twitter is Florida Man.
Yes. Yes.
He's great.
Well, I mean, think about the I can't remember what the acronym is for it, but you go to search something, and what's the first thing that's going to come up? Was it the SPO or whatever it is they call it? If you start typing, and how many headlines begin with Florida Man? And the first thing you type in is, I don't know, something about Florida Man. First thing that comes up is Big E's Twitter. Like, that's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. No, there's nobody better than Big E on social media right now.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing better on social media right now than the 24/7 title. Like, there's no.
Well, didn't they say that's the biggest draw on Raw and SmackDown now?
Yeah, it's the most popular thing going right now, and the YouTube views that these segments draw are ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're insane. And it's just because they're just going with it.
Yeah.
They're just letting it be whatever. And I'm totally fine with that. I really loved the whole setup of the wedding. And poor Drake. Like, you gotta feel for this guy. And he's like, I can do this. And then gets squashed immediately. And it's like, that's just sad.
Sad. But they're running with it, man. They're doing something with it.
I'm with everybody else how they bigged up, when Truth left the arena at the end of all the 24/7 stuff, and Michael Cole's like, and now he's a 9-time champion. I can't wait, until like a year from now where they're like, is R-Truth gonna win his 100th 24/7 title? Like, I can't. It's because
he's gonna break records for how many championships he's got.
It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be fantastic. And I really loved in his Miz TV promo, bringing up the grocery store, which I am praying was a Booker T Stone Cold callback.
Oh yeah.
Because that segment was legendary, and the whole I got superstars showing up, dressed as cops, trying to call him out, and he's like, I know better. And I thought, oh, that's funny for a lot of other reasons.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's not funny for the reasons a lot of people think it's funny.
Right. Oh man.
But I'm excited about that. Like, they've grabbed that and run with it. And I really love, speaking of run, I love whenever Truth runs off, Mela just jumps on.
Yep.
Every time. Absolutely every time. They're like, we're leaving, and she's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
God, I can't believe our Truth is 50. It's amazing to me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And can still do what he does. I mean, I can't do a leaping split now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts. I mean, they don't talk about the fact that he was a champion before he went to TNA.
Right.
He was, European champ or hardcore champ back in the day when he was called K-Quick.
I'm not sure.
This was 20 years ago. He was in the 2000 Royal Rumble for a while.
Right.
He and Road Dogg were a team way on back in the day. It's nuts. And here he is, like, anchoring the most popular thing going in the company right now, practically.
Right.
Oh, it's insane. It's just insane.
Yeah.
I really want the shirt, though. It says Truth is 24/7. I want that shirt so bad.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Oh, his 48-7 European US TV championship.
Yeah.
God.
When do you think we'll get Bray Wyatt in the ring?
I am expecting Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised because there was no Firefly Funhouse segment this week.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, his stuff has been great.
Yeah, it's been just bizarre. It's been so weird, and they've really gone meta with it. And I think that was kind of like, okay, we saved this until pretty much last with the devil being who it was and everything.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I feel like now we can't like this is the shark we're approaching here. Let's not jump it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But of all the people I expected to make a surprise appearance on Monday Night Raw, I would have expected him over The Undertaker, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm not gonna lie, I popped for it, but I'm just like, I know why he's here. I know exactly why he's here. It's because he doesn't want people to think about that Goldberg match for very long.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah. Like, nope, I can do better.
Oh yeah. I saw the Bray Wyatt, someone asked where he was, and he posted a GIF that said, I'll be right back, don't go dying on me. And it's a lady in the wheelchair. I forget, what movie is that from? I don't know, anyway.
But I don't know. Extreme Rules or on the build-up to it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gonna be interesting to see who he feuds with first.
I got a question for you. This confused. You watch way more Cultaholic than I do. Yeah. Adam Pacini replied to him saying, "See you in court," because it showed him doing the "Join Us." Is that what Adam Pacini always says, or something?
That's kind of the Cultaholic motto.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I feel like that was very tongue in cheek too.
Yeah. He's like, you better hope I don't have to wear a suit. I hate suits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, that's how they sign off all their videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and join us is always how they end their videos. So it's
Gotcha.
But
okay.
So I feel like that was, it's one of those things of like with Ford being their whole thing of like with their new trucks of like, it doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. And then the bar came out and was like, where have we heard this before?
Right. It's cool. It's cool they're having fun with that. That's the kind of stuff they need to do. That's the thing is I don't want to hate on the WWE. There's a lot of the best talent in the world, hands down, than any other. No one has that amount of talent, right? It's what they do with it. That's
the thing. AEW has tremendous talent, and it shows because they're allowed to show it. If WWE let their talent have that kind of attitude era control over their characters and themselves again, it would be like they would take off.
It would be unfair. Yeah, it would be unfair at that point because AEW wouldn't exist. I honestly think.
No, AEW is because of these
Right.
restrictions.
Exactly.
And
Like, where's Rusev? He's going to. Rusev and Lana and Sasha. All of them are going to be jumping ship soon.
Nakamura, man.
Nakamura.
Nakamura
Yep.
was the biggest thing ever. He was NXT champ. He had all the momentum in the world, and they blew it.
And you know what? I'm gonna be excited to watch him again in AEW. I really am. To have him and oh man, he's gonna put on amazing matches there.
Because here was the thing about Nakamura. He is such a great bastard.
Yeah.
He is a fantastic, awful person.
Yep.
And it's and they, I get it. He was a great face in WWE, especially in NXT. But man, once they turned him, and then they didn't do anything with it like that.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. He should have beat AJ. That when he was going against him, when he turned heel, he should have beat him. That should have been the moment because everything went downhill from there.
It did.
Yeah, it lost any kind of momentum he had, and it was like, why have AJ beat him for the millionth time?
Yeah.
Like, where was that? It's like that they keep doing Alexa and Bailey. What's the point?
Yeah.
That's Dolph with like have someone win surprisingly. Even if they lose in a few weeks, I think some of these titles, they just stay for too long, and it gets way too predictable. And then it only changes when everyone's like, okay, Brock has to lose it now to Seth at Wrestle. Like, it just gets too predictable.
Yeah. Finn is still the Intercontinental Champ, right? I don't remember where he is right now.
I have no idea.
Which is
Ricochet's USA, so that was cool.
That was a good, I enjoyed that. Like I said, I thought that match was fantastic, and I liked that Samoa Joe lost up.
Yeah.
He's not the US champ anymore, but now he's going after Kofi, and that's a program I can get behind.
Yes, exactly. That's how you do that.
Yeah.
And now have Ricochet, his matches with AJ was amazing. Like, keep doing stuff like that.
And I don't mind that Ricochet lost. Right. That doesn't bother me because AJ is a better competitor than Ricochet.
Right.
I like that. And I like the idea of this was non-title, but now it showed here's, AJ was WWE champ.
He put him over. That was important that they did that.
Yeah. And for AJ to I know a lot of people were saying, well, it's Ricochet's first match as champ and he lost. Yeah, but he lost to AJ Styles and he lost in a tough fight to AJ Styles. Yeah. That speaks a lot to where they think Ricochet deserves to be is just about at that level, which is a damn high level. AJ Styles beat John Cena, which is not nothing,
No. Bring up Velveteen Dream. Have him
Do not bring up Velveteen Dream. Never take Velveteen Dream out of NXT. Okay. They will destroy him. They will abandon him on the side of the road.
You're right.
No, the Dream in NXT forever. Because because I have zero faith in the main roster. Look at everybody that's been called up lately.
You're right.
And
you're right.
Who have we had? Ricochet. Okay. Heavy Machinery. Okay. Who else?
Yeah.
Cedric Alexander got called over from 205 Live.
Where's EC3?
Man, he and EC3 both. We saw them both win the 24/7 title, but that's the last thing we've.
Hey, whatever happened to Aleister Black? Wasn't Johnny Gongaro up? Wasn't he?
No, Johnny wasn't called up.
Wasn't he on a few Raws?
They were. He and Ciampa were for a while as some part of some weird whatever the hell they were doing, but they.
Okay, because I thought, I'm like, wait, what? What?
No, that was a weird thing that just made no sense.
Yeah.
But Aleister Black's been on SmackDown just screaming at a camera for 2 months.
I don't get it.
That's my point. It makes me crazy. Heavy Machinery have done fairly well because Otis is really funny.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, that's why. Which is fine. I'm okay with that. Tucker being the straight man and Otis just being the odd little weirdo. But it works. The War Raiders, the Viking Experience, the Viking Raiders have just done they've done nothing. They have completely floundered. It's just that call up is death. Mm-hmm. And I don't want it. I don't want Velveteen Dream to have to go through that. I don't want him to get called up and be repackaged in some ridiculous manner.
Yeah.
Or just left, just dropped away to be somebody else in No Way Jose's Conga line. I don't want it.
Oh yeah, No Way Jose. Holy crap.
He never did much in NXT anyway, though.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfortunate because that's good. Send him back to NXT. You know,
Yeah.
everybody that's been going back. You know, I mean, hell, look at oh, help me here. Look at Prince Pretty. You know,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he went back, people were like, "Holy crap!" You know, and he
Yep.
cut a vicious promo on Dream.
Oh
That
yeah.
was amazing. That was my favorite line. You know, when you put
Hmm.
your number on your tights and nobody calls you up, it's because they're not interested.
Yeah.
Damn, son.
Yep.
It was awesome, and that led to a great match. And I love that that Tyler Breeze is back in NXT now.
Yeah,
Like
you're right. You're
he's
absolutely right.
staying there, and that needs to happen more often. Bring some of them back, you
Yeah.
know. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yep. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Poor Rusev.
Man.
He's been posting like he posted like of different companies what they do for their their employees the last few
Oh.
days on Twitter. Like Google, I think like Google was like if there was a death in the family, Google pays for the spouses. They pay that employee's income for the next 10 years to the spouse and her children. And like all this like crazy good stuff.
Yeah.
He's just posting all of these things that companies do good for their employees.
Damn, man.
But it's real though. Like the way WWE treats, they're not employees, and that's what I think was one of his tweets where someone was like, "Could you believe that an employee would talk about the company like that?" He's like, "I'm not an employee."
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's true.
All you gotta do is watch the John Oliver bit. I mean, it's something that we as fans have known forever, but it's, you know.
I don't think it's as wide known as people think it is. I think that did open some people's eyes that have just been oblivious.
Sure.
I think to the average person,
that's what I mean.
They have no idea. Yeah. I think fans like hardcore fans know, but like regular people that watch it every once in a while on Monday night or whatever, they don't know that they're contractors.
No, huh?
That's insane. It's absolutely insane. It should be illegal. Well, but follow the money. Follow.
Alan, I mean, here's the thing.
Linda, you keep going higher, you'll see why they're getting away with it.
They sign the contracts. At the end of the day, the contract is right there. It's not hidden in anything. And
but it shouldn't be legal.
I agree, but
it shouldn't be you shouldn't be able to put in a contract. I'm gonna kill you with a knife and you're gonna be okay. Like that shouldn't be legal.
I agree.
It should be death contract. So like this type of shenanigans should not be legal for companies to do. How ridiculously involved they are. And how they can't do anything else. They can't go anywhere outside the company. They can't do this, can't do that. And they're not employees. They don't have the rights. And it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And you're right. John Oliver discussed that plenty. And so did Jake the Snake Rob? Not Jake the Snake. Help me out. He was the governor.
Ventura. Jesse Ventura. Yeah.
Yeah. He talked a lot about how that he tried to get Congress or something else involved, but you follow the money. And you follow out, like I said, the McMahons have a person in office right now, so it's going to be hard to change anything like that.
She's not there anymore, though.
Oh, she's not? Okay, she got kicked out.
She left, as the parlance goes.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, but they're so involved, I guess I should say.
Yeah, well, but I mean, they've been getting away with this long before that, though.
Right. That's what I mean. If you follow the money, you follow who they're involved with, and why they're legally allowed to get away with it. It's absurd.
Yeah.
But anyway, is there anything else about the show you want to talk about before we go?
Not that I can think of offhand. I'm trying to think of something, but I got nothing right now.
Cool.
I haven't yet watched the new 365 with Alexa Bliss. I really want to.
Oh yeah.
Because I've heard that it's seriously good. But
yeah, I saw parts of it. The beginnings of it were like where she had time off. And so she got to like reconnect with her family, and you kind of get a sense of like, wow, like these people, their entire lives are wrapped around the road. So when they go back home, it's like a culture shock for them.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, we'll be back next week. Make sure you go to We Geek Podcast on at We Geek Podcast on Twitter, at the Logan Witt, at Adam Esep. Our email wegeekpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. We are on Apple Podcasts and Android Podcasts. We're everywhere. Our Facebook group. And we'll be back next week. We'll have a lot more to talk about. I'm going to be diving back into Divinity Original Sin, so I'm going to talk all about that probably. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Captain?
Captain.